Stick with me, you're about to see the most insane survival plan ever. The villagers are baffled, especially when a girl walks up and begs him to stop. She's the same one who rejected him yesterday, and the rumors start flying fast. They say she'd take him back for a bribe, but she snaps at the crowd. The boy just tells everyone they're being too nosy and needs them to leave. He tells the girl to get lost, and she storms off in a rage. She swears she's done with him, but he honestly couldn't care less. The only thing that matters is when his parents finally arrive and see this. They're terrified and demand answers, but the boy just stares back at them. Seeing them alive hits him hard, and he gets incredibly emotional. He breaks down, hugging them both and crying that they're safe for now. He tells them there's no time to explain, they just have to trust him. Check this out, that intense look in his eyes tells the whole story. His parents are confused for a second, but his father chooses to believe him. The old village gossip tries to tell the mother her son has gone crazy. She wants the mother to stop this madness, but she's talking to a wall. The mother fires back, calling the old lady the only crazy one there. With the family finally united, the protagonist puts his plan into high gear. He knows he can't butcher all these cows alone, with the clock ticking. There are only 4 hours left before the entire world flips upside down. He shouts that he's paying big money to anyone willing to help out. Suddenly, everyone who called him insane is praising his smart business move. In record time, he's got a full crew working to clear the herd. He calls his suppliers and offers the meat at a massive, desperate discount. It doesn't take long for a truck to arrive and haul it all away. He finally gets that bag of cash, and his parents beg for answers. He promises to tell them everything soon, but they need to stay home. They must stay inside until he returns and not let a single soul in. It makes zero sense to them, but they trust their son like always. He stashes the money and repeats his warning for them to lock up. He tells them to bolt the windows and doors against any intruders. As he drives toward the city, his one and only goal is gunpowder. Now listen closely, we've only got 2 hours until the apocalypse begins. First, the animals will mutate and start hunting humans for a change. Then the humans turn into zombies and begin eating each other alive. In a very short time, our entire species will be facing total extinction. His biggest trauma is surviving while watching his entire family die. He doesn't know how he was reborn, but he's changing history this time. He needs a generator, fuel, and food, but weapons come first. He heads to a sketchy warehouse to make a very dangerous deal. Walking into the warehouse, he finds a gangster named Jack and Olivia. The boy tells them he's got $100,000 in cash. Jack smirks, assuming the kid is buying a gift for his beautiful assistant. But he only has one thing on his mind, a massive stash of gunpowder. Jack denies any illegal deals, but trust me, we'll see if he's lying. Stick with me, we are about to watch our hero play some serious mind games. He mentions a woman who died here, which completely catches Jack off guard. Jack freezes, then tells the girl to check the stock and prepare the gunpowder. As she walks past, he tells her that her father helped him once before. One day he will repay that favor. Interesting, William finally gets back home. He is loaded with supplies, calling for his parents, but no one answers. His brother Lucas says Isabella is not home yet. William is totally shocked. She should be here already. He prepares to go out after her now. He wonders if his actions caused a butterfly effect. He heads to school. He expects pure chaos, but on the way he hits a stray animal. It is a zombie dog. This is 1 hour earlier than he predicted. The outbreak has started. Meanwhile, at the school, some girls are mocking Isabella. They say her brother gave cows as an engagement gift. Isabella is annoyed. She knocks a girl's phone to the floor, planning for a teacher trap. Trust me, this is a smart move. She wants her father to come. She says the phone will only be returned if her father comes to pick it up. She walks past and tells her to be more careful. Isabella forgot something. They were both assigned to clean, and the bully wants to play cutter. Her brother arrives at the school, but the place is already total chaos. Isabella is covered in blood, but she is okay. The bully starts vomiting. The girl is sick. Isabella runs to the balcony to call for help. She sees the schoolyard below, and let me tell you, it is hell. One student looks like a goblin and charges at her, but then, luck. Maybe the author wants her alive, but the zombie trips on nothing here. He falls flat on his face, but the bully girl is not finished. She lunges at Isabella like a cat. Suddenly, her brother appears out of nowhere. He dropkicks the zombie in the head. He pulls out his cow knife. Without wasting a second, he finishes the zombie off right then and there. Already in the car now, driving back and running over the undead. You and I can tell she is scared, but she tries acting tough. He tells her she can stop pretending and just cry if she needs. He promises to protect the entire family. That actually makes her feel happy. Later that night, they reach the village. He leaves her with their parents. He tells them he is heading out again to find someone very important. No matter what, they must protect the house, Isabella tells her mother. Her brother's body feels different. He moves across the rooftops looking for someone. He wants a girl who had a powerful ability in his past life. Elsewhere in the city, a girl is desperately holding a door shut. Meanwhile, two useless guys just stand there watching. Suddenly, the gate bursts. Zombies come tumbling in like trash, but the girl realizes something very strange. They were not swarming her. It was William, and he is smashing them. She is startled by the dark look in his eyes. He is already by her side, cutting down the zombie attacking her now. Trust me, you and I are about to see if she is truly safe. Stick with me, he slashes the zombie lunging for her, then grabs her face. Stick with me, she is safe, but she is nothing like the girl he knew before. In the past, she was a total stranger. Meanwhile, those two useless cowards start complaining. They are actually whining that he did not need to kill the zombies. Seriously, how stupid. They do not even realize those were real zombies. William tries to break down the situation. Calling the police is useless now, but just as the reality sinks in, look who arrives. It is Jack, the gunpowder dealer. He immediately starts rallying the crowd against our main character. Claiming William is just telling fairy tales to cover up a crime. Typical villain move. But Bea steps in, defending him and telling everyone that William actually saved their lives. William thanks her, but he is determined to prove these things really were zombies once and for all. He offers to show anyone the truth if they have the guts to follow him. Nobody steps up, so William turns to Jack. He asks if he is brave enough for an ally. Just a quick check, right? Jack is getting suspicious about how the main character knows so much. He is too prepared. Now pay attention because this is about to get intense. Jack admits he is terrified of a supposed killer like William, but curiosity wins out in the end. He brings his bodyguards along for backup. Bea insists on joining since the village leader is missing. The guy with glasses joins the search party too. It turns out he is looking for someone. Another guy offers up a van for transport. Once they arrive, the real search begins. They find the leader's abandoned car and start scouting the area. William spots something immediately. Footprints, blood, and signs of life lead them straight to the mouth of a dark cave. It is dangerous inside. He tells them he is going in alone to scout, but Jack reacts. Jack accuses him of plotting some secret scheme. Why else would he want to go alone? William has finally had enough. He tells Jack that he is seriously starting to get on his nerves. If Jack wants to see a dead body that badly, he is welcome to step inside. Wait for it, Jack freezes, sensing the raw bloodlust inside William. Suddenly, a zombie girl bursts out from the darkness, sprinting right past our main character. She is charging the group. Glasses guy loses it and runs toward her, screaming the name Shin. She was the person he was looking for, but as she lunges to take a bite, William moves in a blur, saving the guy and ending the girl's nightmare instantly. The guy falls to his knees in tears, screaming that William is nothing but a cold-blooded murderer. William drops him to the ground with a grim expression. He does not say a single word. I know you are hurting, but Shin was already gone. She had turned into a monster. I had no choice. My priority is keeping the rest of this group alive and breathing. Hyuntao staggers up, his voice cracking with a mix of pure grief and blinding rage. Easy for you to say. What if I slaughtered your family right in front of you? Could you stay calm then? Those words hit William like a physical blow to the face. His mind flashes back to his past life, to the cold, broken bodies of his family. Everything was soaked in blood. His breath hitches, and with a snarl, he finally snaps. He grabs Huntao and hoists him up like he weighs nothing. His eyes turn lethal. In this life, nobody threatens my family and lives to tell the tale. Not again. He raises his blade to strike, but Jack's mocking voice cuts through the heavy air. Well, look at you. Maybe you are just as much of a monster as they are. At that exact second, a powerful hand slams into William's wrist, stopping the killing blow. He is thrown to the ground as a familiar, rough voice growls out a sharp command. Snap out of it, you idiot. Standing there with a grim, steady face is his savior. And trust me, you and I are relieved to see his big brother, Lucas, finally arrive. Stick with me, we're about to witness a tragedy turn into a nightmare. No one wanted this. If you need someone to blame, then blame me. But pull yourself together. Right now, the village still needs its leader. Damn it, they need you. Hango trembled, clenching his fists in pain. He finally gave a slow, broken nod. Suddenly, a faint cry echoed out. Help, someone help. It was the chief's voice, but William froze in suspicion. Something felt wrong. The tone was way too controlled and too human. One of Jack's thugs just scoffed. What a bunch of scared little babies. I'll go drag him out myself. With that, he strutted right into darkness. He didn't make it far. A wet, slicing sound cut through the silence. His torso was split clean in half, spraying blood over the ground. A grotesque zombie dragged out his remains and tossed them aside like trash. Then hundreds of glowing red eyes lit up the dark. The horde awakened. Now watch closely. What William saw next was beyond his worst nightmares. The sheer number of undead pouring from that cave was absolutely staggering. Even if he fought his way out, how could he protect his family? Luckily, the brothers had trained under a military martial arts master for years. Their skills were elite. Aim for the head, William warned his brother. They're sensitive to light. The brothers moved in a perfect, lethal sync. They slashed and dodged, clearing the immediate area in just a few minutes. Meanwhile, Jack was hiding behind a tree, too terrified to even breathe. But deep inside the cave, that same eerie cry for help echoed again. William and Lucas exchanged a look. You guys head back, William said firmly. It's too dangerous now. You will only slow us down from here. Without hesitation, they stepped into the dark. Suddenly, William stopped abruptly. A dried-out corpse lay ahead, heart completely missing from its chest. That voice called again, whispering unnaturally. Lucas raised his flashlight beam instantly. Sweeping the cave, they found the chief sitting with his back turned. He was silent and still. Then, he snapped around with a pale face. You saw that, right? Tentacles began unfurling from his open chest cavity. The creature lunged at them with terrifying speed. William reacted by instinct alone. He slashed his blade toward its head with everything he had left. But the moment the blade struck, he knew something was horribly wrong. The thing barely flinched. That wasn't a normal zombie, it was a mutant. Suddenly, tentacles whipped out and sent William flying into the cave wall. Lucas's light caught its face, and it screeched, recoiling from the brightness. They seized the chance and scrambled out. Gasping, Lucas turned around. He was stunned. What was that thing? William exhaled a long breath. It's a cross-species infection, some kind of genetic mess between species. They aren't just undead anymore. They have evolved into something much worse. He nodded toward the dark. That thing was a stage 2 variant. It used to be the chief. William glanced up at the moon. Luckily, the moon is bright. You and I know these monsters hate light. Lucas looked at him in total disbelief. When did you become a virologist? Trust me, you and I are about to see things get even crazier. Stick with me, we're about to see how binge-watching documentaries actually saves lives. They were planning to retreat and return tomorrow, with better gear for that mutant. But suddenly, a swarm of glowing red eyes erupted from the darkness of the cave. It was a horde of mutated bats. In an instant, the sky went pitch black. Moonlight was swallowed by wings. Taking advantage of the chaos, the mutated zombie attacked. It launched forward like a cannonball, smashing into Lucas and sending him flying back. One of its tentacles lashed out, shattering the flashlight in William's hand instantly. The creature's intent was clear. It had locked onto Lucas as its primary target. William gritted his teeth and pulled with all his strength, but it was useless. The monster's power was overwhelming, far beyond what any normal human could resist. Just as the jaws were about to close around Lucas, William froze in horror. He was helpless. Then, out of nowhere, a car came speeding onto the scene. The door slammed open and Bea was behind the wheel. She didn't hesitate. She gunned the engine and rammed the mutated zombie, sending it tumbling away. William didn't miss his chance. He rushed forward and struck the final blow. That strike ended the creature's life, but then they realized who it was. The monster was actually the village chief. Bea was visibly shaken by the truth. Lucas exhaled deeply, his voice weary. If you hadn't shown up, we'd be dead. Now here is where things take a dark turn. Watch William's face go pale. He spotted it. Deep on Lucas's forearm was a clear, jagged bite mark. Lucas gave a faint, tired smile. I am sorry, little brother, it's over. Take care of the family now. As for what comes next, I don't need to say. Those words tore through William like a blade. He knew his brother was doomed. He would have to be the one to end his own brother's suffering tonight. Staring at his infected brother, William was overwhelmed with a crushing sense of guilt. He believed being reborn would let him change fate. So why was this happening? Why was history repeating itself? Suddenly, his eyes locked onto the mutant's corpse. He rushed over and yanked the blade out from the creature's shattered skull. Then he began hacking at its head again and again, blood splattering everywhere. Lucas thought his brother had snapped from grief and cried out for him to stop. William, what are you doing? Bea also tried to pull him back in vain. But William didn't stop, because he just remembered a critical detail about high-level zombies. They absorb viral energy and condense it into a crystallized core in their skulls. You and I know that look. William just remembered something absolutely huge. Moments later, he found it, a dark, blood-colored crystal nestled in the brain. He turned to Lucas, eyes burning with a desperate hope. You haven't turned yet. There is still time. He held out the crystal, his voice steady now. This is a zombie core formed by concentrated viral matter. It is pure power. It shares the same source as the infection currently inside your body right now. If you take it, you might evolve, but you could also turn into a monster. Lucas didn't even blink before swallowing the entire core down without a single hesitation. William watched him, heart racing. This was the only real shot they had left. Lucas smirks. Seriously, you had this thing hidden away the whole time. He's still himself for now, but the transformation process has only just begun. Lucas smirks. Trust me, you and I are going to want to see what's next. All right, stick with me. We are jumping in right as William asks the question. Lucas answers flatly. Within 2 days, then he turns toward the dark cave. 2 days, if I am not out by then, seal it up. But no jealousy if I get powers. Watching his brother walk away so casually, William felt the heavy weight lift. He really believed in him. With a faint smile, he whispered his promise. I will be waiting, but hidden nearby, someone else was watching from cover. Lingy had been eavesdropping on everything. A sinister grin crept across his face. Now pay attention here. This guy is planning something absolutely insane for our hero. Next morning, Vanessa barged into her brother's room wearing improvised, clunky battle armor. Time to get up, brother. He just stared at her bizarre outfit. He asked what she was wearing. It looked like a trash can with legs. The proud sister explained they needed home defenses, so she spent all night. She made that armor herself and was clearly fishing for a nice compliment. But her brother just poked her with one finger, making her roll away. She rolled right out of the house. Outside, he asked for the plan. To roll over the zombies and score a strike, just like a bowling ball. Their dad saw the kids and climbed down from the wall he built. The old man grabbed a barrel of black powder and walked with pride. Where did you get that? His son warned him it wasn't a toy. But the man just ran off, shouting he had something super important to do. Our protagonist just prayed the house wouldn't blow up in some freak accident. Then William heard his sister rolling, and their mom was wearing armor too. He didn't need a DNA test to confirm they were mother and daughter. "Mom, I'm hungry. Any breakfast? I'm busy, training my secret cleaning technique." Someone was about to ring the bell when William opened the door first. To his surprise, it was a good one. The gorgeous Bea was there. She came to ask for a favor. His mom came to see them. Bea explained that the village committee had started organizing defenses for the area. Things were going well, but she contacted the county police station last night. Since then, nothing, no message and no reply, just total silence now. The protagonist checked his phone, no signal. This was definitely a strange change. And as you and I both know, radio silence is never a good sign. That didn't happen last time. Bea continued, saying this didn't feel right. If they were isolated, they might miss some crucial news about reinforcements. Bea asked him to go with her to the county for answers. Our boy stayed silent, clearly worried about the dangers of her sudden request. Seeing his hesitation, Bea bows her head and admitted the high risk. She knew his brother went through hell yesterday. Now she was asking more. But the girl believed this was important. Finding the truth was her responsibility. William was the best fighter they had. She added one more thing. At this moment, William understood those creatures better than any other person. That's when his mom cut in, saying enough with this dangerous conversation. But then the old lady said something unexpected. She looked at the girl. "If it weren't for you yesterday, my foolish son might not be home. Trust me, you and I are about to see this journey get even wilder. Stick with me, this mother's gift is about to change everything." She reached into an old shelf and spoke gently. "Your father and I are your parents. We aren't here to trap you, but to protect you from what is coming. Look at you, my brave, handsome son." Then she handed him a long, gleaming blade, a weapon for survival. William took it as they left together. He stayed silent, but the women started chatting. You can really tell who runs this world. His mom watched them go, whispering that they looked like a perfect couple. She was already dreaming of some beautiful grandkids. Meanwhile, Lucas sat deep inside the cave, waiting for the zombie core. He needed to see how his body would react to the power. Footsteps echoed nearby. Thinking his brother had returned, he called out. "William, wait, stay back for now," but something felt very wrong. Liquid trickled past his boots. He dipped a finger in and sniffed. His blood ran cold. The smell was unmistakable. It was gasoline. Don't blink, this is where everything goes up in flames. A spark caught. A massive explosion ripped through the entire tunnel. On the road, William and Bea were heading toward the county. Bea stared out the window, nervously humming a tune completely off-key. William glanced over and realized she was totally tone-deaf. She noticed him staring and blushed. "Sorry, I hum when I'm scared." I know it's bad, but William wasn't laughing at her at all. Instead, he felt a strange warmth. She was terrified yet pushing forward. That's the Bea I know, but things were getting complicated now. He realized he couldn't just rely on his memories from the past. Her sensitivity to zombies was something he just had to trust. Suddenly, he told her she should come stay at his place. She froze, her cheeks turning red. Why would I do that? William didn't even notice her blushing. His mind was elsewhere. If I told her about her future powers, she'd think I'm crazy. I know what you're thinking, but get this, he's hiding a massive secret. So he just said, I need you safe, I can't lose you. Before she could respond, William hit the brakes. He frowned deeply. The road ahead was totally buried under a massive, crushing landslide. They got out to look. Bea sighed at the mountain of dirt. There's no way we're reaching the county through this mess. William stayed silent, his heart racing. This road was fine before. Everything has changed, not just the timing, but the whole world. If the route is cut, getting supplies will be a nightmare. He exhaled. Let's head back and try to find another way. Bea nodded. As they drove, William's mind was moving a mile a minute. No signal, no escape. The walls were closing in. Suddenly, the car jolted, sliding toward the sharp edge of the bridge. William slammed on the brakes and gripped the wheel with everything. And that's where we leave it. Trust me, the real nightmare is just starting. All right, you and I are watching him yank that wheel to avoid the cliff edge. The car barely holds. They scramble out, and that is when Bea spots the trap. A spike strip, someone wants them dead. William tells her to stay back, it is an ambush. This was no accident. Then, a cold laugh echoes from above, cutting through the silence. There he is, Jack, perched on the bridge like a predator, casually spinning his pistol. William just watches. Jack starts ranting, blaming him for wiping out half his crew. As their leader, he says he cannot just let a slaughter like that slide. He drops down, closing the distance, but William stays cool, not even flinching. He tells Jack if he wants a real fight, go take it out on the zombies. Jack keeps mocking him, calling him scared. Watch closely, William is hitting his limit. The mask slips. He threatens to end Jack right here, right now. His hand grips the hilt, daring Jack to make a move. The tension is electric. Suddenly, bang, Jack shoots Bea instead. She collapses as blood stains her shirt. William freezes in horror, screaming Jack's name while the world stops. Jack just laughs. This was always the plan. He wanted William to suffer. He says breaking your heart is better than killing you. Then he mocks William for being too weak to kill his own infected brother. He brags about blowing up the mine himself, taking everything from William. The truth hits like a lightning bolt. William's eyes turn bloodshot with rage. With a guttural roar, he draws his steel and charges like a demon. Jack just grins, finger on the trigger. But then, something flashes from the trees. You and I both knew it. A Tier 2 zombie wolf bursts out and strikes. It shreds Jack's arm clean off. He hits the ground, screaming in absolute agony. William freezes, stunned. Meanwhile, back at the village, the piece is about to end. Isabella is just waiting on a rooftop, wondering where her brother and Luna are. Suddenly, the gates rattle with frantic banging. Panic is starting to spread. They are looking for William. Isabella looks down and sees Huanta and Uncle Neo. She tells them he is gone and asks what is wrong. Huanta just points. He points to the ridge and tells her to see for herself. She flicks on her flashlight, aiming the beam at the dark hillside. Her face goes white. A sea of undead is cascading down the slopes. A black wave of thousands, moving straight for the village. Total nightmare. Back at the bridge, Jack is fading fast, bleeding out on the cold dirt. He gasps for air, wondering if this pathetic end is truly it. But the wolf is not done. It turns those glowing, hungry eyes toward William. His instincts scream danger. The beast has locked onto its next target. It lunges. William dodges perfectly, his blade flashing through the air. He slices across its chest. Black blood sprays as the beast hits the dirt. The wolf howls in pain, but William stays focused. He cannot relax yet. It is still dusk, so it is not at full power. Once night falls, game over. But then a chorus of howls erupts from the trees. His blood runs cold. This is no small group. It is a full-scale, world-ending horde of monsters. A massive swarm of undead spills from the tree line. It is like an ocean. The chief was supposed to be the cause, but he is already dead. So what now? Could it be the bats? Trust me, you and I are not ready for what is next. All right, stick with me. The wolf lunges again, claws slashing through the air. William barely twists away, heart racing. This beast is still insanely fast. He watches in total shock as the massive chest wound heals instantly. Before he can move, the wolf charges again, jaws wide open. Deep inside the cave where Lucas was buried, the ground starts trembling. A low rumble grows deafening. An explosion shatters rocks, and through smoke, Lucas steps out. His body glows red as a twisted grin spreads. On the bridge, Bea stands frozen. Her eyes wide with pure horror as the zombie wolf snaps its jaws toward William. She whispers a prayer, begging for his life. Now watch, a red aura explodes from William's body. A fiery glow pulses under his skin, raw power surging through him. Totally unstable, with a feral roar, he drives a fist into the jaw. The beast recoils, shrieking in agony as blood sprays from its mouth. William doesn't hesitate, eyes glowing crimson. He leaps right in, raises his blade high, and brings it down in one clean stroke. The wolf is literally split in two. As the dust settles, Bea stares. She is in disbelief, her voice a whisper as she calls his name. He gives a faint smile, he is back, but then he collapses. Completely drained, Bea lets out a soft laugh, relieved he is alive. She glances at the mangled remains and then back at him, calling him insane, though she admits she is not even surprised anymore. She truly believes he can fix anything. William looks at his hands, feeling that strange power still pulsing under his skin. Wild, but contained. He wonders where it came from. Maybe this is his real awakening. But something is off. You saw it too, nobody awakens without a core. He definitely never used one, but those thoughts end as the dead close in fast. He stands up, his expression hardening. No more thinking. They have to move now. Surrounded by enemies, staying here means death. Noticing Bea is injured, he steps in without a second thought. She cannot run, so he decides to carry her despite the pain. Draining the color from her face, she gives a determined nod. The snarls of approaching zombies grow louder, cutting through the air. William acts instantly, hoisting Bea onto his back and sprinting for safety. The village finally comes into view, but the dead are closing in. Their numbers are overwhelming. Even if he fights, there is no way to keep everyone safe in this chaos. Just as the horde strikes, a thunderous roar erupts nearby. A vehicle tears through the undead, crushing everything in its way. It is a customized off-road truck. Fire blasts from its exhaust as it burns a path through monsters. The driver spins the wheel, sweeping the truck around and torching zombies. The truck skids to a stop, and the window rolls down, revealing William's father, a cigarette in his mouth and a grin. He shouts that he has his son's back. From the passenger seat, William waves excitedly, ready to light things up. Once everyone piles in, Dad slams the gas. Trust me, the real fight starts now. Stick with me as undead swarm behind them. It's time for the dragon bombs. William quickly obeys, tossing 3 homemade firebombs straight out the truck window. Explosions erupt, flames incinerating dozens of zombies, though some keep running while burning. Still chasing the car while on fire, the creatures keep pushing forward. William's father just snorts, telling them that he is going to end this. He tosses a powder barrel outside and flicks his cigarette right into it. The explosion lights up the road, trapping the entire horde behind fire. In the back seat, William is actually clapping, totally impressed by the chaos. Up front, William and Bea exchange a look, not sure how to feel. Trust me, you and I are seeing it too. This family is absolutely insane. Suddenly remembering the first aid kit, William reaches under the seat for it. As he opens it to grab bandages, William snatches them from his hand. Hey, you can't touch a girl's leg like that, unless there is something going on between you two I should know about. Bea lets out a soft laugh, her cheeks flushed. William rolls his eyes at the constant trouble. Ignoring her, he turns to his dad. How is everything holding up at home? His father stays focused on the road, through the rearview mirror while driving. So far, we're holding. The horde hasn't managed to break through yet, William looks at the massive pile of dynamite in the back. Wait, you really made that yourself, and you are smoking next to it? Dad just laughs. I was the demolition guy in the mines. Once they shut down, I had nothing left to blow up. Tried using firecrackers at home, but your mom put an end to that real fast, he sighs, mourning his lost passion. Wait a second, William says. Was that kitchen explosion last year your fault? His dad tenses up immediately. No, don't be ridiculous. William just squints. You are literally shaking. Don't tell your mom, his father mumbles to him. Now pay attention here, because things at the village are about to get weird. William's father freezes. He rushes to the door, but it is locked from inside. Without waiting, William steps forward and shatters the door open with a strike. Inside, the scene is unreal. His mother is holding a zombie by its throat. She is totally calm, staring at it flatly while saying, "Oh, it's you. Auntie Jong from the neighboring village. Been a while since I've seen you." William and his father peek from behind the broken door, too afraid to move. Her glare sends a cold chill down their spines, so they stay hidden. William calls out, "Mom." She doesn't even look up, still clutching a pan. You scared me. Just because you're a zombie doesn't mean your debt disappears. Then she slams the frying pan into the zombie's face. Pay me back. You owe me 500 from that card game, plus for your son. I gave 600 for college. When my kid got in, you gave nothing. Then you talked behind our backs. This is what you get. William stares. At her, totally stunned, he leans toward his dad. Since when is Mom? This strong? She's always been this way, his father answers, puffing away. Back in the day, no 1 in 10 villages dared to mess with her. It took 3 to 5 men to hold her back. Things calmed once we finally married. You and I just discovered who the real boss is here. Stick with me, you're about to see a marriage proposal turn violent. A frying pan flies through the air, smacking the guy in the head. You were begging to marry me, she screams, glaring daggers at William. And you, breaking down the gate like some hero, you are in trouble. William slowly backs away, looking for any way to escape this crazy scene. Bea jumps in to help. Maria, listen, he was only trying to protect you. As Luna finishes speaking, William's mother completely freezes in her tracks. She slowly turns around, and suddenly her face goes from scary to sweet. Oh, Luna, I was just playing around. You know I am totally easygoing. I am always easygoing, you know. William stands there in complete silence. Seeing her switch personalities is honestly scarier than the actual undead apocalypse. Now watch this, a loud screech echoes from the courtyard wall. A zombie scales the wall, letting out a wild, blood-curdling roar before it pounces. Wang Tao stood on top of the wall, sending the monster flying back. He yells with urgency, "Quit wasting time, they are breaking through." A massive horde is swarming from the west. William's focus sharpens instantly. He taps into his power, red energy sparking as he charges forward. His dad starts tossing bombs, while his sister fires off a massive cannon. Even his mother joins in, charging forward with her trusty frying pan. For the first time, William knows they can win as one family. No one gets through today. He is not alone. His family is here. Together, they will survive this nightmare. But suddenly, the entire situation changes. The zombies are pulling away. William just stands there in total disbelief. Why are they retreating? Are they actually scared? That is just impossible. You and I know zombies don't feel fear. Something is wrong. Undead return with ladders and saws. They are organized now. His father is in shock. Since when do zombies use military gear like this? This is not random anymore. William realizes someone is giving them orders. Scanning the chaos, William spots a mysterious figure on a distant rooftop. His eyes narrow. It is Jack, the man who supposedly died earlier. He stands there with a twisted face, watching them with a cold smirk. Waves of undead surge forward, hitting the family compound like a flood. His father grits his teeth. Why is every single zombie targeting us? He shouts to his daughter, asking where the rest of the explosives are. He turns to his daughter. Are we out of bombs? She screams back. From the side, Huntao shouts that the zombies are scaling the wall. William turns and sees them. The horde is coordinating a pincer attack. It was a distraction. His heart sinks as the perimeter starts failing. Below, Bea and his parents are surrounded, fighting with everything they have. The entire family is trapped in a final, desperate stand for survival. Red light flickers around William again. Mom, Dad, hold down the yard. I will handle the rest. He leaps off the wall into the swarm. His father watches in pure horror, dread gripping his chest like a vice. He tries screaming, but you and I can't stop what happens next. The zombies close in, buried under a literal mountain of rotting flesh. All right, you and I are about to see William face a crushing wave of monsters. Closing his eyes, he taps into the raging storm of power deep within him. Gripping his sword, he chants his ultimate moves. Blood Barrier, Earthbreaker Force, activate. Blood Azura go. With one clean stroke, he swings his blade. A red shockwave erupts from his position, obliterating everything in its path. Zombies are instantly torn apart like wet paper. As the gore settles, William stands amidst the carnage, breathing heavily. This technique, it feels incredibly familiar to him. In his previous life, he saw the supreme commander of the Dawn Legion use it once. That guy was a literal god of war, but William realizes something. His own version is flawed, not quite there yet, but he does not care. He doesn't need perfection, he just needs enough strength to save his family. His gaze shifts upward, locking onto the dark figure watching the whole battle. The zombies are just fodder. The mastermind up there is the real problem. Now pay attention. He knows he must cut off the head to end this. William grins, eyes glowing crimson. You really think this trash can stop me? Just then, a thunderous roar shakes the air from behind him. A sudden chill runs down his spine. He turns just as a zombie lunges straight for Bea. Before it touches her, his mom swings a frying pan, knocking it into orbit. She rushes to Luna's side, frantic with worry. Are you hurt? Tell me. Did it bite you? Luna just shakes her head, trying to catch her breath. No, I am fine, Maria, but where is William? He jumped in earlier. Suddenly, William Ming calls out. I saw him. He looked like a hero. He was cutting through everything. He will be fine. But as she speaks, wait, you and I saw that coming, didn't we? The ground begins shaking. She turns back to witness the horror. Amidst the rubble and swirling dust, William lies there. Battered, bloody, and barely able to move an inch. He screams with his remaining strength. Stay back, do not come closer, Ron. Looming over him is a nightmare, a massive, mutated zombie bear. Absolutely terrifying. It is twice the size of a semi-truck, covered in jagged steel spikes. Its eyes glow like coals. Each breath sounds like escaping high-pressure steam. It isn't just watching, it is hunting. William's entire body is trembling now. Pain is everywhere, but he forces himself to stand. He will not quit. Gripping his fists, he refuses to look away from the beast. This is on me. I have to finish this myself. No one else gets hurt, not on my watch. His eyes flare with power as he burns through his final reserves. Pyaki. A wild storm of blood energy explodes around him like a crimson wildfire. He stands firm against the beast. If I die today, it will be protecting my family. From the distance, his parents and sister scream in pure terror. William, get out of there. But William does not move a single inch. The giant bear roars and strikes, its claw coming down like a heavy blade. William barely dodges the strike. But before the next claw can even land, a loud crash rings out. A familiar voice speaks. Well, look at you go. Using this much power already, I thought you were just slacking off here. The dust clears, showing William Ming blocking that massive claw with one hand. Sorry I am late, brother. Trust me, we need to see what happens next. All right, you and I are diving into a battle that's been years in the making. With one powerful twist of his arm, William Ming hurls the giant bear through the air. It flies like a derailed freight train, smashing into the ruins with a deafening boom. William shakes off the dust, looking completely unfazed by all the surrounding chaos. He smirks, calling the massive beast nothing more than an oversized hamster. He turns back calmly, telling his brother to go handle the things only he can. His eyes turn cold as steel as he locks his gaze onto Jack. He locks eyes on Jack, who is still standing tall on that distant rooftop. Memories of his past life flash back, his family dying right before his eyes. The bitterness, the rage, and the endless nightmares of his past life fuel his burning soul. With this power in his hands, he vows to destroy everything that threatens his people. William steps forward, his voice cold as he asks Jack if he's still alive. Jack turns around slowly, his severed arm now replaced with a grotesque and monstrous wolf-like claw. He lets out a low, rasping laugh, claiming that the old Jack is finally dead. He grins wildly with exposed fangs, his eyes full of nothing but pure madness. His body has broken completely free from the limits of humanity, half zombie, half man. He commands the zombie horde while keeping his human mind, a true king of the apocalypse. Below them, the massive zombie horde swarms the building like a dark tide. Jack stands tall with his eyes closed, basking in the surge of dark power flooding him. He smirks, telling William that he actually owes him a massive debt of thanks. He has finally decided on a plan, but then, sheeing a blade rings out suddenly. Now watch this part carefully. William doesn't even let the guy finish his sentence. William's blade comes down hard, splitting Jack's head clean down the middle. Blood sprays everywhere like a geyser, as William coldly sheathes his long sword. Still the same coward, he mutters, just with a much louder mouth than before. He turns away, wondering how a coward like that ever thought he could be king. Now that Jack is finally gone, his big brother should have less pressure to deal with. You and I both thought that was it, right? Well, think again. William freezes as he slowly turns back to see Jack's body rising once more. The gash in his skull knits back together with sickening cracks of bone. Lingy's eyes now glow a feral red as he grins with a deeper voice. He mocks William, claiming that his blade will never be enough to kill him. William's eyes widen in shock as he raises his blade defensively before his chest. He realizes Jack has inherited the incredible regeneration of a legendary zombie wolf. I have to end this now, he thinks, before the monster can strike again. Suddenly, Jack appears beside him like a shadow, whispering venomously into his ear. He tells William they are the same and invites him to join this new era together. Humanity will be nothing more than kneeling livestock beneath our absolute rule. He gestures to the swarming horde, claiming he brought a special little gift. He claims to have cleared out all the weaklings around William as a welcome. Down below, the massive zombie tide has already reached the courtyard walls. Inside, William's parents and the others are desperately struggling to hold the line. From the side, Uncle Neo shouts that the west side is finally collapsing. William's father panted heavily as sweat poured down his face in the heat. Stick with me, we're about to find out if they can finish this fight in time. Stick with me, you are about to see a massive crash shake the entire ground. The corpse of a massive bear slammed down, kicking up clouds of dirt and blood. From behind the rubble, William Ming's voice echoed with a hint of pure mischief. Man, this guy can really take a beating. Let us use him to patch the hole. William's father turned around fast, feeling both relieved and incredibly tense. Xiaoshu, how is your brother? Is William all right? William Ming watched the zombies closing in from every side and clenched his jaw. There was no way to escape now. He turned to his father and spoke firmly. Do not worry, William has more potential than I ever did. He will finish this. Watch closely, here is where William gets struck by a nightmare power. He was hit by Jack, sent flying into the earth with a bone-crunching thud. Dust exploded everywhere. He lay there, blood dripping, his entire body battered. Jack stepped down, crouching on the rubble with a truly wicked grin. Disappointing. Is this all you have, William? Kneel now and I might forgive you. But before he could finish his sentence, a crimson flash cut the air. It happened in an instant. A red streak tore through the battlefield. William surged forward, his blade cleaving Jack's chest and sending him flying through walls. Through the swirling dust, William stood tall, his eyes sharp and his voice cold. Humans do not walk with beasts, especially not those who threaten my family. He marched toward the figure in the rubble, his sword still dripping with blood. You and I know that look, he stands there, blood dripping, ready to judge. With a voice like judgment, he declared, Jack, there is only one thing left. To kill you. Jack's chest wound began sealing up almost instantly. Is that so? What a shame, William. Then I hereby sentence you to death. In a flash, he lunged forward. His claw came down like a falling guillotine. It sliced through the air with terrifying force. William barely raised his blade. Clang, sparks exploded on impact. He is faster and way stronger than before. William's arms trembled from the force. I cannot hold this much longer. Blow after blow rained down. Lee was relentless, refusing to give him a second. A searing pain tore through William's arm as a deep gash opened up. It cut right through his blood barrier. Reacting instantly, he kicked back to safety. Breathing heavily, he glanced at the wound, his eyes narrowing in the heat. My blood Azura shield cannot hold anymore. I am reaching my absolute limit. Across the battlefield, Jack sneered while licking his claws. Impressive, William. You dodged that. I really thought I would be admiring your intestines by now. William felt his strength draining, and his vision started to blur. The blood Azura aura was flickering and dying, but then he looked up. He stared straight at the monster and gripped his blade tighter than ever. If I only have one strike left, then I am putting everything into it. Suddenly, Jack appeared right in front of him, grinning with glowing red eyes. Gotcha, honestly, even I do not know how strong I am at full power. William froze for a second. Jack's claw slashed across his chest, deep and brutal. Blood burst from the wound, painting the ground red. He was not done. In that instant, he reached into his coat with one final surge of will. And that is where we leave it. He just threw an explosive at his enemy. Stay with me, this fight is about to get absolutely explosive. Boom. Fire roared, turning the area into a hellish inferno. Pure chaos. Jack's voice echoed from the blaze, mocking and cold. Just a Molotov. Jack stepped out completely unharmed, but William had vanished into thin air. He blinked, then let out a laugh, unhinged, wild, and totally maniacal. Your blood smells like a flare in the dark. No hiding now. His grin vanished as his eyes turned ice cold. Run, little William. I am going to find you, and then I will tear you apart, piece by piece. Elsewhere, William collapsed inside a dark store, gasping for his life. Sweat, blood, and agony blurred together as he clutched his open wound. He leaned against the cold shelf, his grip on the blade firm. Eyes locked on his arm, he noticed the bleeding had finally stopped. Not fully healed, but enough. A flicker of surprise hid his face. His energy was nearly gone, only one desperate move left, one chance. Outside, heavy footsteps echoed. Then came Jack's booming, cruel voice. Pay attention here. This monster is about to turn up the absolute cruelty. You chose a coffin like a peasant, William, truly no taste at all. His claws dragged across a rusted van, sending hot sparks flying everywhere. Metal shrieked in protest as his steps slowed down to a predator's crawl. Tell me, do you know why wolves hunt when they are not hungry? Jack walked slowly, his voice almost reverent as he praised pure terror. He wanted to feel that desperate hope crushed after every failed trick. That moment of total collapse, that is the finest spice of all. With a twisted grin, he slammed his foot into a nearby car. Crash, the vehicle flipped like a toy, landing with a deafening screech. He glanced at the ground, following the crimson trail of fresh blood. It led to a tripwire glistening with gasoline under a glass Molotov. Jack scoffed, his smile widening at the obvious trap above him. You really think I am stupid enough to walk into this trap? You and I both know the hero has a backup plan, right? No, the strongest scent of blood is actually coming from up there. Flash, with a sudden leap, Jack cleaved upward, ripping into the roof. The ceiling shattered, crashing down in a storm of steel and wood. Debris scattered everywhere, and amidst the dust, a blood-soaked jacket dropped. He snatched it up, confused as his eyes narrowed in sudden realization. What, just a jacket? But before he could react, whoosh, Jiwa exploded out. Emerging from the shadows in one smooth motion, he struck at Jack. He flung a fistful of powder into Jack's face. Agony, pure agony. What the hell did you do to me? Jiwa stepped closer, voice cold. That salt, you couldn't smell it coming, could you? He smirked. Then again, you probably cannot smell or see a single thing anymore. Jiwa stepped forward. You inherited the zombie wolf's strength and its weakness. A wolf's nose has over 200 million scent cells. It can detect over 2 million different smells. Salt is absolute agony. And that, my friends, is how you bring a monster to his knees. All right, you and I are about to see Jack fall for a massive trap. You claim to be a king, but you're just a blind dog. His own arrogance, Jack roared with wild rage, screaming he'd kill Jiwa. I'll tear you apart. Jiwa just raised his blade, looking calm as ever. Blood energy surged through his arm, wrapping his sword in a crimson storm. The technique, Blood Azura, World Splitter. The blade came down in a flash. A flash of red light. Boom, Jack was smashed directly into the earth. A shockwave ripped through the ground as smoke filled the air around them. Jot Jiwa stood at the edge, staring into the pit. Still alive, he muttered. Damn, you monsters really are hard to kill. Jack lay crushed and broken. Bloodied and gasping, he was still snarling. I'm a king, he spat out. I don't die. But then, his eyes widened in shock as he noticed. Liquid was rising around him, thick, oily, and reeking of gasoline. He shouted as panic replaced his fury. Jot Jiwa's voice cut the tension. Calm and cold, those little fire bombs simply weren't enough, Jiwa said. Looking up at the sky, he said, I figured I should test something out. Will a full underground fuel tank blow a monster like you to hell? Now watch this, his voice was ice cold, filled with only quiet finality. This gas station is your coffin. Goodbye, Jack, back at the village. Jua's father stood at the gate. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion rocked the horizon. He looked up totally confused. What in the world? Then, a brilliant fireball. It bloomed in the distance, a second sun rising over the ruined city. Jua's father stood in silence, watching the fiery glow. The sun's up. Joe shouted excitedly, and everyone turned. The massive zombie horde was retreating. As the tide of death slowly pulled back, the exhausted defenders finally smiled. They were relieved and alive. You and I both know that look. He smiles while watching the sun. He started walking back home, but a weak voice called from behind him. Leaning against a wall was a pale, unconscious figure. Jua, please help me. Her head fell forward as her strength vanished. Jua froze and turned back. Back at home, Joe stood with her arms crossed, glaring at her brother. Bro, are you seriously a pervert? What kind of guy strips a girl? Jua sighed in frustration. I was just checking if she was bitten. You can't just bring someone home because they look okay, he explained. Too many groups were wiped out because of that exact mistake, he added. Almost defensively, he said I wasn't wearing a shirt either, so it's fair. Joe rolled her eyes. That just makes you sound like more of a creep. Good thing I stopped you in time. If Luna had seen that, Jua spoke. Before he could, the door creaked open and Luna stepped out calmly. She's fine, she said. I checked her and she's just totally exhausted. Both mentally and physically. She'll wake up soon, she paused, looking at them. Why do you two look so weird? Joe coughed, forcing a nervous smile. It's nothing, we're just glad you're okay. Jua turned toward her warmly. Thanks for everything, he said. Luna lowered her gaze and replied quietly. I didn't do much, you're the ones who. Well, let's see what's next. Stick with me, we're about to see the aftermath of all that hard work. Hang Tao, Uncle Nio, and Luna gear up to search the village for survivors. It's still light out, and as council members, they can't just leave people behind. Just before they head out, Jojo catches the look of guilt in Luna's eyes. Luna, don't blame yourself. You can't save everyone from a trap like that. But as long as we're breathing, there's hope. Luna pauses and looks back. She gives him a soft, genuine smile. I know, thank you, Joe Ming chuckles. Not bad, little brother. You're finally starting to sound like a real human being. Jojo watches them drive away, whispering that this time, the ending is actually different. Joe Ming raises an eyebrow. What are you even talking about? I've got your EQ. Never mind. He sighs and turns the key. Time to handle these leftover bodies. Now pay attention, because the cleanup is where the real stakes get revealed. They head deep into the mountains to finish the final, grim task of the day. Standing before the fire, Joe explains these mutated corpses must be completely burned. If wild animals eat them, we'll be facing an even bigger disaster next time. Joe Ming brushes the dust off his clothes and grins. Home and sleep, finally. And Jojo, get the car washed immediately. This thing smells like a graveyard. Jojo scratches his head awkwardly, thinking about the gas station. Then it hits him. Wait a minute, why am I the one doing chores? Joe Ming just smirks. Simple, because I'm the big brother. You got a problem with that kid. Jojo narrows his eyes. You know the rules. Joe Ming just raises an eyebrow. Seriously, you really think you can take me down now? Jojo just scoffs. Please, I've never lost a game of ghost tag. They set the stakes fast. Joe Ming is the hunter. Jojo is the ghost. The rules are dead simple. Count to 10 while the ghost runs. Catch him in 3 minutes or lose. Jojo takes off like a shot. When it's win or lose, you run like hell. You and I both know Jojo's fast, but check out his brother's reaction. Trying that old trick, you remember I taught you that, right? Suddenly, he's there. Before Jojo can even react, Joe Ming is breathing down his neck, reaching out. Jojo stops instantly, twisting his body and dodging like a flickering shadow in the trees. They blur through the forest, leaping roots and weaving through branches. Locked in a relentless game of supernatural tag. Jojo leaps high into the air, aiming for a massive branch overhead. Catch me. Joe Ming blinks, then smirks as he follows him up. Nice try, kid. Without warning, he charges the tree just as Jojo reaches out. Then, crack. The tree topples with a massive crash. Startled, Jojo adjusts his stance midair. He lands safely, but Jo Ming is still grinning, blade gleaming in his hand. He just felled a whole tree like it was nothing. Thought you'd escape. Not a chance. Jojo barely hits the ground when he feels something massive coming. He spins around to see Jo Ming hurling the entire tree trunk at him. Jojo crosses his arms, bracing himself to block the impact with full force. The brothers lock in place, one pushing, one resisting, energy crackling between them. Jo Ming laughs, his voice full of challenge. Are you running away again? Jojo doesn't answer the teasing. He's too busy holding back that massive trunk. And trust me, you and I are watching the birth of two unstoppable legends. All right, you and I are about to see how this fight turns into a total lesson in strategy. He let the force carry him back to cushion the blow. Suddenly, that massive log slammed into the rock face with a deafening boom, exploding into a massive cloud of splinters. Jo Ming stood in the wreckage, scratching his head. Did I go a bit too hard? He called out to Joa, but there was only silence, not a single word from the dust. When it cleared, the kid was gone. Then bonk, a small rock bounced off his head. Joa laughed from way up high. Time is up, big brother. Ghost wins this round. Jo Ming looked up, totally baffled. When did you get up there, you sneaky little brat? Joa landed gracefully with a smirk. See, when I hit that cliff to absorb the impact, I actually figured out something massive about how our abilities function. It all just clicked. Jo Ming nodded. I got my strength from a zombie core. Same for you, right? Joa just shrugged it off casually. Something like that, he said. But in his head, he knew it was actually from his past life. Out loud, he said, my power is different. I can actually tap into other people's abilities. Basically, I am a walking power mimic. Jo Ming was stunned. You mean you can just copy me? Like, take my actual strength? Joa nodded. Exactly. You have the Blood Bastion ability, don't you? It is pretty insane. It boosts your strength, speed, and defense to a crazy new level. Plus, that red aura of yours blocks almost any physical hit coming your way. After our little spar, I think I can mimic about 70% of your power. Jo Ming was floored. Only 70% and I still lost. Man, that is just wrong. Now pay attention, because this is where Joa reveals his real ace in the hole. Wait a second, are we talking RPG stats? Do you have a personal interface or something? Not exactly, Joa said, flexing his hand. It is more like a gut feeling. I can literally feel the numbers behind a person's raw strength and power. If a normal guy is 20, your strength and agility are both around 90. Your endurance is maybe 95, but for your intelligence, Jo Ming cut him off. You and I both know where this is going. Jo Ming just laughed it off. Honestly, your IQ is basically 0. Watching you fight a tree was honestly painful. Jo Ming grabbed him, joking around. Careful, kid, my 0 IQ might still deck you. He laughed, then suddenly remembered. Oh, the crystal core from that giant zombie bear. I stashed it in your drawer earlier. Might come in handy for you later on. But little did they know, someone was watching. Someone very dangerous was nearby. Every word they said was overheard by a shadow hiding deep within the trees. Late that night, while Joa was fast asleep, a dark figure crept into his room. The figure found the crystal core. His eyes lit up with pure, greedy excitement. He chuckled, finally a real superpower for me. The next morning came quickly. Joa's mom was heading out for supplies and told him to go plow the fields. Under that brutal sun, Joa was sweating buckets. He was totally miserable and annoyed. My brother gets to relax while I do all the hard work. Talk about favoritism. It is totally unfair. So, Joa used his secret skill to finish fast. He quietly activated his cheat skill, plowing the field at light speed. Nearby, Lian was hiding, looking sharp in a clean white shirt and holding water. She was visibly nervous. After a long moment of hesitation, she finally made a move. Taking a deep breath, she stepped out with a massive, sweet smile on her face. Trust me, you and I are going to want to see how this romance unfolds. All right, stick with me as we see the aftermath of a brutal zombie wave. Joe was scrubbing thick, dark blood off the walls when he heard footsteps. Turning around, He calmly asked Layan if she was feeling any better yet. She stood there with a sweet, charming smile and said she was much better. Layan thanked him for saving her life, but Joe remained completely indifferent. He told her he was just keeping a promise, no thanks needed. Unbothered, she poured a cup of water, her smile never fading for a second. She insisted it was a debt of gratitude she would never forget. Then, she softly asked if he could keep helping her in the future. Watch Joe's response here, he doesn't hold back. She was stunned, her voice trembled as she asked why. Without looking, Joe explained he only helped to repay her father's old kindness. They were even now. He spoke with a level of cold, absolute finality. He had no responsibility or obligation to keep protecting her anymore. Layan just lowered her head and whispered that she understood. Once the wall was spotless, Joe stood there in the heavy silence. He felt a strange power stirring inside him and muttered a quiet realization. This blood butcher power wasn't for farming, he needed better control. Suddenly, a loud, rapid knocking came from the front door. He opened it with a frown, asking what was going on out there. Inside, Bea and the search party were slumped on the sofa in silence. Their heads hung low as Joe looked at them, his expression darkening fast. There was not a single person left alive in the entire village. Bea bit her lip, her eyes flashing with a deep, painful sadness. You and I know Joe won't let them despair. He interrupted her, saying a corpse tide cannot be stopped just by preparation. They risked their lives searching everywhere. That was more than enough. Uncle Neo finally broke the silence, asking what their next move would be. Joe told them to shower and rest. Simple, dinner was coming up next. His gaze remained steady. They were alive, and that was what mattered most. After cleaning up, Bea walked out wearing some of Isabella's spare clothes. She tugged at the tight outfit, worried that she looked a bit weird. Joe's mom called from the kitchen, telling everyone that dinner was finally ready. Bea hurried over to help, thanking Joe's auntie for the warm invitation. The atmosphere at the table was filled with laughter and warm conversation. Seeing Bea, Joe's mom smiled and told her to sit next to him. Bea nodded sweetly. Meanwhile, Olivia watched them from the side. A stiff, uncomfortable look crossed her face as she saw how close they were. Once everyone was seated, Joe's dad raised his glass for a solemn toast. He looked around the table and announced that everyone was finally here. He acknowledged the grim situation. They were the only survivors of the village. Everything outside was a mystery, and all communication was still completely dead. He paused for a second before continuing with a voice full of strength. They had survived the corpse tied together, every single person in that room. And that's where we leave them, surviving against all odds. Truly epic, right? Listen, you and I are watching a family fight for more than just survival. They are here to truly live. Cheers. But as they raise their glasses, Isabella's glass slips, shattering across the floor. Lucas sees it happen and asks in a panic, Isabella, what is wrong? Suddenly, Isabella's eyes turn completely bloodshot. Sweat pouring down her face as she makes terrifying guttural noises. William instantly activates his power, keeping a sharp eye on the clearly unstable girl. Before he can even process what is going on. Look at this, Isabella suddenly lunges at him with a twisted, feral expression. She sinks her teeth right into William's arm, but William stays totally calm, not a hint of panic. Nearby, his father, mother. And the others shout in terror, desperately trying to snap Isabella back to her senses. After a tense moment, that red haze finally starts to fade. William asks her softly, are you back with us? Isabella blinks, lets out a confused sound, and slowly looks around, meeting the uneasy stares of the entire group. Her face turns deep red as the total embarrassment of this social death moment hits. It hits her hard. Seeing how awkward Isabella feels right now, William just sighs and gives her a firm punch to the stomach without hesitation, slinging her over his shoulder. He calls back to the rest, I am taking her for some fresh air. Keep eating, no need to worry about us. They see Isabella vomiting heavily over his shoulder. Everyone just nods, buying the story without any questions. Outside, Isabella squats down, clutching her head in total shame and mumbling, I have officially humiliated myself beyond any repair. Standing right behind her, William scolds her. You actually dared to eat a crystal core. You got lucky today, but do you think that luck will last forever? Hearing the reprimand, Isabella quickly apologizes in a tiny voice. I am sorry. I just wanted powers too. William looks at her with total helplessness, thinking, good thing I sensed her awakening energy early on. Otherwise, she would have scared the hell out of me. He sighs deeply, ruffles her hair, and says gently, all right. I will teach you how to control your powers. Now close your eyes. Imagine your ability like a stream of energy flowing through every part of your body. William guides her patiently. Your ability is now a part of you, an instinct as natural as breathing. Smiling slightly, he adds, now you see where this is going. Now tell me, what do you see? Closing her eyes, Isabella follows his instructions, tuning into the world around. She whispers, I see life. Opening her eyes, a soft glow flickers within them. I see life flowing everywhere. Feeling a surge of realization, she says excitedly. It feels like I can control that flow. Carefully, she directs her life energy into the ground beneath her. Instantly, the potatoes buried in the soil sprout tender shoots. In mere moments, they grow into fully mature plants. Staring at the thriving garden, Isabella exclaims in disbelief, did I just make them grow faster? From the side, William chuckles and replies, looks like you did. Watching William use the and you and I just witnessed her eyes widen in pure shock. Stick with me, things just got wild because Enzi has powers now too. She clutched her head, wailing in pure despair. She wanted way more. No cosmic rays or magical girl transformations, just a life of farming. This is so unfair. William just gave her a helpless, get real look. He muttered, what kind of nonsense is in your head? But he wondered. Deep down, a nagging thought kept bothering him. This was no coincidence. The odds of awakening powers from a crystal core are basically zero. Yet both his brother and Enzi succeeded. It had to be his ability. Next morning, a loud rooster met a quick end in William's hands. You're way too noisy, he grumbled. He turned to find Uncle Neo nearby. Uncle Neo, where did you find a rooster this early in the morning? The old man chuckled, holding a hen. I have a whole flock. I was going to raise them for the eggs and more chicks. He explained that years ago, the village poultry farm gave him birds. I never ate them, I just kept raising them all this time. Hearing this, William remembered the poultry farm was actually quite close. After a quick talk, the group decided to go check the place out. They hoped to catch more chickens and find eggs that could hatch. Now pay attention, this is where the survival mission takes a creepy turn. On the way, Hangtao nervously eyed nearby corpses. Will they turn? They're not going to suddenly become zombies, are they? He asked, trembling. He looked closer and frowned. Wait, it looks like they were stabbed. William walked ahead and replied, relax, zombies don't come out in daylight. Just stay away from dark basements, and you'll be totally fine. Feeling reassured, they cautiously made their way inside, but Huang Tao was still uneasy. I hope the whole world isn't wiped out like our village was. Uncle Neo was full of hope. No way, we have high-tech weapons. I'm sure someone will come to rescue us before much longer, he insisted. Hearing their hope, William spoke softly. It's better not to expect anything. You and I both know he's right. Hope is dangerous in this world. The real threat isn't just the zombies, it is the virus itself. The destruction it causes is way beyond what anyone could have imagined. Right now, the only ones we can truly trust are ourselves, he added. Silence fell. Both Neo and Hangtao looked crushed by his words. Moments later, Uncle Neo found a stash of eggs hidden inside a cabinet. With the right heat, we can hatch these ourselves, he grinned. Huang Tao scratched his head. Isn't it weird? There are 0 birds. Only eggs are left. William and Neo shared a very confused look. Even if the birds had died, there should be some kind of remains. Just as the mystery deepened, a loud, harsh honk echoed through the air. William spun around to see a massive white goose standing at the door. It flapped its huge wings, almost like it was trying to greet them. That massive bird flapped its wings, almost like it was greeting them. Hango's face lit up. Trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next. All right, stick with me. William asks for a sack to handle this like a pro. He was a poultry farm expert. Hyuntao grabs the bag, ready to show off. He strides confidently toward the goose, moving with practiced, easy skill. With a few quick moves, he bags the bird effortlessly. But just as he starts to celebrate, he turns to boast, but the once calm goose suddenly begins to mutate. Its beak widens into a terrifying, bloodthirsty maw, lunging at Hyuntao's face. It moves with terrifying speed, but in a flash, William jumps into action. He activates his power, dashing to his friend's side and landing a massive blow. The goose goes flying across the room. Hyuntao just stands there, absolutely frozen in shock. He's completely bewildered, struggling to process the nightmare he just saw. William shouts something is wrong, we need to fall back now. They bolt out of the factory, but the nightmare outside is even worse. William hears strange noises and throws out his arm to stop the others. He scans the area wearily. Within seconds, the true threat finally reveals itself. Now pay attention here. Dozens of mutant geese charge them from every direction. These birds are unnaturally fast, moving way quicker than the one before. They're nearly on top of the group. Suddenly, William spots a narrow alleyway right there. Without hesitation, he yells for everyone to follow him into the gap. He leads Hyuntao and Uncle Neo towards safety, but there's a major problem here. The other two are just ordinary humans, and their stamina is fading fast. Their pace slows to a crawl. William realizes they are in serious trouble. His companions are totally out of steam. He looks back and sees the swarm. You and I can see they're closing in fast, totally relentless monsters. William decides to activate a different ability called Growth, copied from Isabella. He focuses his will, channeling the raw life energy flowing through his body. In an instant, thick vines erupt, spreading wildly across the narrow alleyway. They create a living barrier, stopping the mutant geese dead in their tracks. William turns back to tell his friends to run, but he freezes. An even bigger group of mutant geese is blocking the alleyway ahead. Trapped from both sides, William makes a split-second decision for the group. He leads them into an abandoned dormitory building to hide from the swarm. The others collapse against the walls, gasping for air, pale and drenched. Uncle Neo looks down at the courtyard, which is now swarming with monsters. He says heavily, "It looks like we are trapped here, William. You might have a chance, but Hyuntao and I are probably done for." He blames himself for this mess. He's determined to fix it. "I swear I will get everyone out of here alive. I promise." Inside his mind, William is frantically weighing every possible option they have left. If he uses his blood butcher ability, can he carry both men? Can he outrun those things? If he fails midway, they are all doomed. Just as he braces for a charge, Hyuntao suddenly shouts in excitement. "Wait, there is a computer here, and the power is still on." William looks over, puzzled. Hyuntao's hands start flying over the keyboard. "The local network is still up. I might have a way out." Suddenly, violent thuds shake the door. "Trust me, you'll want to see this." "Stick with me, we're diving into a high-stakes fight for survival." "This door is about to give," Hangtao frantically typed and screamed back. "Just give me 5 minutes. No, 3 minutes," he gritted his teeth. "I will handle these things," hearing that desperate countdown from his friend. William knew that flimsy iron wouldn't last 3 more minutes against them. If they wanted to live, he had to bring the fight to them. Channeling his blood butcher power, he smashed his fist into the door. With a massive crash, the iron door flew forward like a battering ram. It instantly crushed those mutant geese into a bloody, unrecognizable pulp. William stepped out, still clutching the broken metal knob in his hand. Another wave of mutated geese charged him with a ferocious, piercing screech. William narrowed his eyes, using the iron door as a massive shield. He absorbed their brutal attack, then gathered all his energy for a strike. He punched the metal with full force, sending out a massive shock wave. The blast tore through the corridor, shredding every charging goose instantly. As the hallway went quiet, William exhaled. That should buy them some time. Or so he thought, because in the very next instant, everything changed. "Now watch closely," Here's where things get absolutely horrifying for them. The shattered goose flesh started writhing and fusing into something new. Inside the room, Uncle Ni yelled out, "Wang Tao, are you done? William is fighting like a beast out there. You have to hurry." Wang Tao's fingers flew across the keys. Almost there, just one step. "Just hang in there, William." He prayed for the final file download. Outside, William stared in shock at the grotesque monstrosity forming before him. A massive, hulking beast made entirely of fused, mutated bird flesh. The blood-soaked abomination let out a spine-chilling, ear-piercing roar at him. Then, with terrifying power, it slammed itself into the iron door. William braced himself, feeling the staggering impact through the heavy metal. "You and I see it, things are looking really bad here." The blood butcher shield was failing. Suddenly, he was violently hurled back. Crashing hard onto the floor, William coughed up a mouthful of blood. His strength was draining fast, as he struggled to stand back up. He saw Uncle Neo standing tall, gripping a long stick with resolve. The old man was facing down that grotesque flesh monster, all alone. With grim determination, Neo told him, "William, take the kid and run." "I'll hold it off." He wiped the blood away from his mouth. William tried to protest, but Uncle Neo turned and shouted at him. "Do not hesitate. If we waste any more time, we're all dead." Before another word was said, William pushed himself up and stepped forward. He pulled Neo behind him and spoke with cold, quiet resolution. "I promise to get everyone home. I'm not leaving anyone behind." As he spoke, William's eyes began to glow with an eerie light. One burning crimson, the other shining with the emerald of life force. He faced the charging monster, merging both powers into his right hand. "And trust me, we're about to see the true power of destruction." "All right, you and I are about to see William's true power." He knew victory was his. One heartbeat later, he charged the flesh beast. Merging his twin abilities created a massive power surge deep inside his soul. Strength like he had never felt before pulsed through every single nerve. One devastating blow later, he shattered that grotesque creature into bloody pieces. As the monster collapsed, the intense power within William slowly started fading. Suddenly, a crushing wave of exhaustion hit him like a freight train. His body just quit. He could not even lift a single finger. But just as he tried to breathe, a piercing honk echoed nearby. He watched in horror as a fresh swarm of mutant geese charged. Desperate and paralyzed, William fought his own limp body to move. Pay attention here, this is where things finally take a turn. Suddenly, loud music started blaring from the facility speakers outside. The geese, already mid-lunge, completely froze when they heard the song. They hesitated for a second, then stampeded away from the building. Huang Tao rushed out of the room, shouting for William and the uncle. Uncle Neo was totally baffled. The geese just left. What was that broadcast? "What did you do, Xiao Huang?" Huang Tao beamed with relief. Hearing this, Huang Tao beamed with massive relief. It actually worked. He hacked the facility's broadcast system and played that specific music. The birds were trained to rush for food whenever it played. "Good thing it worked, or we would have been total toast today. I am never coming back to this cursed place again," he swore. With that, the group packed their gear and headed for home. In the back, Uncle Neo was carefully protecting a basket of eggs. He felt massive relief that at least these eggs actually survived. Driving the car, Huang Tao chuckled and asked when he grabbed them. "You and I saw him being sneaky, but Uncle Neo just smiled. While you were catching the geese, I snuck a few into my pocket." Hang Tao worriedly asked if they might hatch into more mutant birds. Uncle Neo stayed confident. "Do not worry, these eggs are old. The infection had not started yet. These ones are totally safe." Quietly in the back, William stared at his hand, remembering the power. His mind was replaying that moment his two abilities became one. Once they got home, the group held a meeting for new jobs. William's father, Lucas, and Huang Tao would handle the security team. They would patrol the area and build new defensive walls. Isabella and Uncle Neo took farming, raising crops and the livestock. Isabella's powers could dramatically supercharge their entire agricultural growth. William's mom and Olivia would manage resources and the inventory. handling all their inventory and distribution. Lastly, William and Bea were assigned to the exploration team, scouting the dangerous surroundings and scavenging for vital supplies. With roles set, William headed back to start his preparations. Stick with me, because you and I are not ready for what happens next. Bridge 1, all right. You and I are about to see if William learned from that farm disaster. As he packs his gear, a soft voice suddenly calls from behind. He does not turn. Olivia gently tugs the hem of his shirt, pressing her forehead against his back in silence. Take me with you, she whispers. Her voice is trembling as the music begins to swell. William turns to her looking puzzled. Her eyes are filled with fear as she stammers. She is scared. William can hardly believe what she is saying right now. No, I just want to stay with you, she says, leaning closer while lowering her voice. She mentions a safe place nearby, loaded with supplies, if it is just the two of them. We could survive until rescue comes, she pleads. Her words are becoming frantic and truly desperate. Bridge 2, now pay attention, she is about to lose it. I will do anything, she begs, just forget about the others. Leave them all behind. But when she finally looks up, she freezes. William is staring with a cold, empty gaze. His gaze leaves her completely speechless. Without a word, he picks up his gear. He heads for the door. As he passes her, his voice rings out, sharp and cutting. You want me to abandon my family? Say that again, and I will throw you out. Go fend for your own miserable life. And do not forget, his voice turns even colder. You were the one who betrayed me first. The truth hits her like lead. Hearing those harsh words, Olivia stands frozen. She is utterly stunned and lost. William steps out and finds Bea waiting. Before he can speak, she looks at him. Are we heading out? Together, they make their way to a secluded, hidden fish farm. It is tucked far from the main roads. They walk through the desolate surroundings together. Bea glances around and frowns. This place is so remote. No tourist would ever come here. Who even built this place? William replies casually as they navigate the overgrown, quiet path. Jack did. I stumbled upon it by total accident a long time ago. Bridge 3, I know what you're thinking. Why does Jack hate our hero so much? Bea asks that exact question. William just chuckles. It goes back to school days. Jack used his family wealth to act superior. Everyone gave way to him, except for me. I challenged him at everything and beat him every single time. He never forgot that sting. Later, when I got close to Olivia, he forced his way in and took her away. He never missed a chance to rub it in. Bea realizes he never actually liked her. I heard he humiliated her. William shrugs. Jack did not care about her at all. He just wanted to hurt me. As for Olivia, she made her own choice. She is none of my concern now. Bea hesitates. Was there an engagement between you? William sighs helplessly. That was all just something the adults arranged. A strange feeling stirs in Bea as she looks at the nearby lake, eerily calm water. Yet an inexplicable sense of unease creeps over her. Something feels wrong here. Bea hesitates for a moment, but was there an engagement between you two? William sighs helplessly. That was all just something the adults arranged. A strange feeling stirs in Bea as she looks at the nearby lake. On the surface, the water is eerily calm, yet an inexplicable unease creeps over her. Soon, they discover a hidden underground facility tucked away beneath the farm ruins. Standing before a massive walk-in freezer, Bea is shocked. Real storage exists here. But seriously, she asks, isn't this heavy door a bit over the top for this place? William, how do you even know about this? He answers calmly as the music plays. Bridge 4, stick with me. Let's find out what's really inside that freezer. You and I are jumping back in as William begins to second-guess everything. In his past life, he only found this spot after the apocalypse began. He survived on hidden supplies back then, while the power was completely out. But now the electricity was running. William's eyes narrowed, his mind racing. Maybe it is because I stopped the first wave. The future is changing. Or maybe there are other survivors already hiding somewhere in the darkness. Now pay attention here, because a sharp scream suddenly shatters the silence. It was Bea. William spun around, shouting into the gloom what happened. Bea had collapsed, her voice shaky as she tried to pull herself together. "I am fine," she called back. "I just got a little spooked, that is all." She pointed a trembling hand forward at a massive fish head from the deep. It was a weird deep-sea creature. Suddenly, the fish heads began to shift. They glowed with a sinister red light. Before Bea could move, William lunged. He rushed up behind her and slammed his palm onto the grotesque creature. William's pupils shrunk. He realized instantly this was a mutant fish-type zombie. To his shock, the thing was completely unharmed by his initial, powerful strike. It unhinged its massive jaws, blasting William with a high-pressure jet of water. The impact sent him flying against the cold wall before he could blink. Gritting his teeth through the pain, he realized this was a second-tier threat. He assessed the force. This monster was way stronger than any normal zombie. "And yeah, I know what you're thinking. This looks bad, right?" Bea rushed to shield him, her voice trembling. "William, are you okay?" He yelled, "Run, we cannot fight this head-on." But as the words left his mouth, he heard a heavy, metallic thud. The massive freezer door was sealing shut. They were trapped inside with the beast. William's heart sank. No time for the door, they had to kill it first. He tightened his grip on his long blade and charged the monster again. Without a second thought, he swung with full force, slashing at its body. But the scales were like armor. His blade barely even left a scratch. It was impossibly tough. Swiftly, William pulled back to gain some distance. Regaining his stance, he felt his energy surge through his body once more. With renewed determination, William launched another assault against the armored creature. He felt his energy surge through his body once again. He searched for a weak spot. It was their only chance to survive. Then he spotted it. The monster's gills were totally unprotected and soft. William circled around, aiming his blade for the gills. William circled around, aiming his blade for the gills. But just as he struck, countless slimy tendrils erupted from the gills. They wrapped around his weapon, trapping it in an instant. He was stuck. William froze in shock. These appendages weren't even part of the fish monster. They were parasitic mutant worms hiding inside the creature, acting as a defense. They only spring forth to protect their host during a life or death fight. These were parasitic worms, hiding inside the beast just to defend their host. Taking advantage of his shock, the monster lashed out with its heavy tail. "Trust me, you and I are about to see a real desperate struggle." "Stick with me." William is dazed, gasping for breath amidst the debris. He slumps helplessly in the rubble as the fish monster looms closer. Water pressure builds in its jaws, ready to blast him into oblivion. Desperate, William grabs a loose power cable and jams it into its mouth. A massive surge of electricity explodes, stunning the beast on the spot. The monster freezes, completely stunned by the massive electric shock. Moving fast, William pushes up and delivers a final, lethal strike. The mutant is dead, but William's heart only feels heavier now. He realizes this reborn world is shifting away from his past life. This world changed after his rebirth, drifting far from his previous life. Watch closely here. This was no mistake, it was a total setup. A second-tier mutant hidden in ice storage, that is planned execution. Someone is pulling the strings from the shadows, and they are good. Bea's anxious voice breaks the silence, asking if he is okay. William replies that they are in grave danger and must escape immediately. Bea desperately twists the door handle with all her strength. But the heavy freezer door remains shut, refusing to move. Bea cries out in confusion because the heavy door will not open. William's face darkens, realizing that someone locked them in from the outside. Without hesitation, he activates his twin abilities and begins fusing them together. He combines blood butcher destruction with the pure vitality of life power. Channeling energy into his hand, he strikes the door with all his might. A deafening crash echoes through the chamber, shaking the very foundation. As the dust settles, the heavy door stands completely intact and unmoving. Not a single crack appeared. William's brows furrow tightly in disbelief. He did not expect the freezer door to be this incredibly tough. You and I both know the irony. This only exit is now a tomb. Trapped underground, their one escape has become their biggest weakness and nightmare. William gasps for air, gritting his teeth at his own lack of strength. He stares at the door bitterly, knowing his best was not enough. He needs a moment to recover, while Bea steps forward to comfort him. Maybe there is another way out, hidden among the frozen crates. Soon she returns, head hanging low with the weight of bad news. She whispers that there is absolutely no other exit from this place. William is not surprised, knowing the grim reality of their situation. The temperature is -18 degrees Celsius, and the air is running thin. Even if they survive the freezing cold, they will eventually suffocate here. They cannot afford to waste a single second in this icy tomb. William pushes himself up, preparing to unleash his fused powers again. Just then, Bea hesitantly pulls out a glowing, radioactive zombie crystal core. She says that if she consumes it, she could awaken powers too. William's eyes widen in shock as he sees the glowing crystal core. He grabs her hand, shouting if she even understands what she is doing. He shouts that it is too risky, but Bea cuts him off. Her voice is firm. You and I know this choice changes everything for them. Stick with me, we're about to see time run out for our heroes. Bea locked eyes with William and spoke with a chilling intensity. You know it too. If we stay here, we're dead. Let's take one last gamble on my survival. Bet on me. If I awaken my power, we might actually make it out alive. William's heart wavered. He couldn't shake the memories of his past life. Back then, Bea's gift was perception, but in this new timeline, everything changed. With all the ripples his rebirth caused, would her power still be the same? After a heavy silence, William let go of her hand and forced a smile. Are you ready? He whispered. He knew she was right about needing her strength. His own power wasn't enough anymore. Why should he hesitate when she's this brave? Bea stared at the glowing crystal core in her palm and took a breath. I used to be so terrified, she admitted softly, but with you, I'm ready. I believe I can do this. Without waiting another second, she made her move. Now pay attention, she just swallowed the crystal core. Meanwhile, in the forest, William's father and Lucas were frantically calling out for them among the trees. But since William kept their location a secret, they were just wandering blindly. They had no idea which way to go as the sun began to set. Darkness swallowed the woods, and the fear on their faces only grew sharper. Anxiety turned into pure dread as the shadows stretched longer and colder. Suddenly, a monstrous zombie roar ripped through the trees. It was close. His father turned pale. Zombies, they aren't supposed to be out yet. William Ming stood frozen, his brow furrowed as he spoke grimly. Something is wrong here. Then, another bone-chilling scream echoed from the distance. His heart skipped a beat. His face went dark as the realization hit. Crap, that was Hankta's voice, and someone is hiding behind that tree. Watch closely, a dark figure is tracking them, now back to the storage. Inside the ice storage, a painful groan snapped William back to reality. Bea's body was steaming with heat, her expression twisted in absolute agony. He rushed over, panicked. Why are you burning up? What's happening to you? Bea clawed at her clothes, gasping for air in the suffocating heat. Everything is on fire, she choked out. It hurts so much. I'm burning up. William grabbed handfuls of ice, pressing them against her skin to kill the fever. He was desperate to stop her from losing control and turning into a monster. After several agonizing minutes, the heat finally began to fade from her skin. She lay there exhausted as the intense temperature finally started to drop. You okay? He asked softly. Bea nodded, her voice sounding cold and distant. William, I can see them. There are zombies, so many of them everywhere. He forced a smile to calm her down. Don't panic, it's working. That's just your new ability waking up, but his mind was already racing. She still awakened her perception power. Brute force was no longer an option. Getting out alive just got 10 times harder than he ever expected. Then Bea pointed a trembling finger toward the floor. I see something else. Underneath us, she whispered. There are hundreds of them right below our feet. His heart tightened. Under the floor, could there be a hidden passage? Trust me, you and I need to see what happens next. Stick with me, you and I are about to see this freezer hatch lead to chaos. They climbed down into the freezing, pitch-black passage hidden under the ice storage. Suddenly, a blood-curdling zombie roar echoes from the deep shadows ahead of them. Darkness looms. William stops, looking dead serious. "It's too dark in here." "I'm blind, Bea, I need you." She points at herself in total shock. Her face is full of shock. "Me, you need me." William grips his blade. He takes a ready stance and turns to her with a confident smile. Seeing that pure trust, Bea swallows her fear and gives a firm nod. She triggers her new ability, pushing her senses out into the dark to find them. The zombies are everywhere, but she tracks every movement in the dark. She starts calling out coordinates, acting as the eyes for William's lethal blade strikes. Fighting blind, Bea's directions allow William to strike with deadly precision. He's dropping zombies left and right as if he could see perfectly the whole time. Now pay attention. This perfect teamwork clears the dark passage in no time. They finally reach the end of the tunnel, but there's no easy exit waiting. It's just a cramped storage room, cluttered with trash and old, broken-down debris. They scan every inch of the room, desperately looking for a way to the surface. No luck. There isn't a single exit leading back to the world. Just when things look hopeless, William spots a faint glimmer of something. Pointing to the side, he whispered, "There is a waterway over there. It should lead to the pond." Without hesitation, they plunge into the water. For a second, it feels like they've actually made it out. They're almost safe. But then, disaster strikes. A massive mutated fish monster lunges out of the gloom. It happens so fast, she can't even scream as those giant jaws snap shut. The beast clamps down on Bea and immediately starts dragging her into the depths. You and I see his nightmare happen as she's dragged into the abyss. William grabs her hand, pulling with everything he has left. But that monster's bite is like a vice. It refuses to let go of its prey. They are locked in a struggle while air runs out. Bea realizes the truth. If she keeps holding on, William will drown with her. She gives him one last, heartbreaking smile as the water fills her vision. Under his horrified gaze, she rips her hand away and vanishes into the abyss. William can only watch as she's pulled down into the cold, dark heart of the pond. Images of his past life flash by, the last time he left her to die. Back then, he ran away. He left her to face the darkness all by herself. But not this time. He swore in this new life he'd never let her go. He charges forward, swimming straight for that massive beast. He triggers his growth ability, pouring every ounce of power into the lake bed below. Massive, thick vines explode from the mud, wrapping around the monster in an instant. The creature is trapped, bound tight by the writhing vines. Within moments, the fish monster is bound tight by the magical plants. From within the beast's jaws, Bea finally opens her eyes weakly. She catches a blurry glimpse of William swimming desperately toward her. She tries to call out, but the darkness swallows her once more. She finally wakes as the world spins. "Trust me, you and I won't forget this." "Stick with me, we're jumping right back in," as Bea wakes up panicking. William turns around with a faint smile, softly telling her she is finally awake. He hands her a can of food, casually mentioning that he just heated it up. He tells her she needs strength, but warns her that the local fish are off limits. Bea takes the can quietly, but then she asks about that terrifying giant fish. She whispers a thank you but hesitates, asking about the fate of that massive fish. The last thing she remembers is him swimming toward her before everything went black. William calmly says it is at the bottom of the lake, feeding the other creatures. He pauses before adding that the fish was huge, but not the biggest threat. Compared to those mutated fishermen in the freezer, that lake monster was easy work. Monsters in the freezer. Watch closely. His tone suddenly turns dark as he warns that these mutated fish will infect the entire world's water supply. This is happening everywhere now, and there is no way to stop the spread. After a heavy silence, Bea calls his name, her voice heavy with deep emotion. She reminds him that back at music school, he was always so quiet and distant. She thought he was difficult to get along with, so they barely even spoke. But since the outbreak, he has risked his life for her. She wants to know why. William looks away, unable to meet her eyes as he gives her a cold answer. He claims he only saved her because he needed her awakened ability to protect his family. Bea's heart sinks. She tries to smile, but the sadness is plain as day. She whispers that she understands, feeling the weight of his words crush her heart. The two sit in awkward silence as the harsh reality settles in. Finally, Bea blushes and asks the one question on both of our minds. William looks up, catches her eye, and immediately starts panicking like a total amateur. He fumbles for words, his cool exterior completely shattered by her simple question. Seeing him flustered, Bea shyly turns away and asks when they are going back. William clears his throat and regains his composure, saying they should leave now. With her perception, they can bypass the zombies and make it home in no time. The duo moves like shadows, evading every threat thanks to Bea's enhanced senses. We finally made it back, but trust me, things are about to get heavy. She throws herself into his arms, her voice shaking with pure, raw relief. She was terrified he would never return, but William just pats her back gently. He tells her to relax, that the drama is over and everything is fine. But as he looks around, he notices her smile start to fade away. She turns serious and tells them both they need to follow her immediately. Inside the room, William is hit with the gut-wrenching screams of a friend. He sees his father and brother standing there, their faces filled with grim despair. A cold feeling grips his heart as he looks toward the source of the noise. Hang Tao is tied to the sofa, struggling against his bonds in pure agony. William's face darkens instantly as he demands to know exactly what happened here. His brother, Lucas, explains that they were ambushed by a horde of zombies. They were trying to find William and Bea when the monsters swarmed them. They desperately tried to capture a second-tier zombie for its crystal core, but it failed. Trust me, you and I can feel the pure desperation in Uncle Neo's eyes. Ken, please. Can Xiong still be saved? He asked. Trust me, things are about to get wild. William looked back at Huang Tao. His eyes were red, his face twisting painfully. Veins bulged everywhere, a clear sign the virus had already reached his brain. Using a crystal core now was useless. He would just become a total monster. Another beast like Jack. As William struggled to find the right words to say, Huang Tao found a brief moment of clarity and spoke through his gritted teeth. I do not want to be a zombie. Do not hesitate, just make it quick. William lowered his head, his hand shaking on the handle of his long blade. His mind was a storm of pain and doubt, but as he bit down, William sensed something wrong. Pay attention here, this is where it gets crazy. He triggered his skills and spun around to face the hidden threat. William turned fast and saw his mother shaking, her eyes full of agony. Seeing her pain, he grabbed her arm and pulled out a crystal core. His voice was urgent as he pulled her aside. Time was running out for them. Mom, hurry, eat this right now. His mother stared at the core, totally confused. Is this the same thing Xiao Huang took? Where did you even get this? I found it at the fish farm. No time to explain, just trust me. She started to ask another question, but a loud, painful growl cut her off. A low, agonizing growl from Huang Tao suddenly cut through the entire room. Lucas shouted urgently that Huang Tao was not going to last much longer. William froze and cursed under his breath. Damn it, they were still too late. There was no more time. He had to make a brutal choice right now. He had to act. You and I know he did not want to do this. He lifted his long blade high, ready to deliver the final, killing blow. But just as he swung, a massive wave of energy exploded from behind him. Startled, William spun around and saw his mother floating in midair. Her whole vibe had shifted. She was glowing with a pure, holy golden light. It filled the entire room. With a simple, elegant wave of her hand, she fired a beam of radiant power straight at the dying Huang Tao. Incredible. Suddenly, the zombie virus inside his body began to melt away and vanish. His red, wild eyes cleared up, turning back into a normal, human gaze again. Moments later, Huang Tao looked at his healed skin in total shock and joy. Look at me, I am cured. But honestly, nobody was even looking at him anymore. Every single person in that room was staring at William's mother in total disbelief. Faces were frozen. They had just witnessed a literal miracle right before their eyes. Not only had she awakened a new power, her whole appearance had changed too. She looked younger, glowing with a new kind of health and divine energy. Seeing her master the purification power, William finally let out a huge, relieved breath. He explained that her new ability could wash away the virus from the infected. This holy light was the ultimate cure for anyone who had not turned yet. However, if someone had already become a full zombie, this light would kill. As for how he knew she would awaken this, he just sensed it coming. To be honest, he was not even sure how his own perception worked yet. But he did know one thing for cert. This feeling was familiar to him. Stick with me, because you and I are about to see where this path leads. Stick with me, we're about to see William's power reach a whole new level. His sensing ability is growing, but there's a catch. It has serious limits. He couldn't detect Bea's power or borrow it, so William made a big assumption. His copying skill was likely restricted to blood relatives. Only family mattered right now. The more siblings who awakened, the stronger he would eventually become. Family buff. Once the others left to rest, William turned to Bea, his gaze deadly serious. He told her to start. Luna, scan the area and tell me the count. Bea nodded and unleashed her full sensory range. She was searching for every monster. Her power stretched across the wasteland, mapping every rotter in their immediate vicinity. It didn't take long. She whispered that there were hundreds of them closing in. 100 near the minefield, and another 100 hiding around the dark back hills. William didn't flinch. He just asked if any second-tier zombies were spotted. Bea confirmed it immediately. She spotted 3 high-level monsters in the shadows. William's mind started plotting. One for Dad, one for Hang Tao, and one for Uncle No. If they harvested those crystal cores, their family's total combat power would absolutely skyrocket. But just as he planned the hunt, Bea gasped, her face turning pale. Something was wrong. The zombies, they aren't just wandering, they are actually moving. Suddenly, the entire horde shifted. She focused harder, her voice sounding purely urgent. They're all gathering in one spot. She pushed her sensing to the absolute limit. She pushed her sensing range even further until she spotted something terrifying. Now pay attention here, because what she saw in that horde is absolutely impossible. A lone human figure stood in the center. When she saw the face, she froze. It's Jack, she couldn't believe it. Every single zombie is following his every command. William's expression darkened in shock. How could this even be possible right now? He watched Jack burn to ashes with his own eyes. Was this the same man? Gritting his teeth, William realized it. Jack was the one who trapped them in storage. He connected the dots instantly. That forest ambush must have been his doing as well. Bea looked panicked, asking if they should warn the others and set up defenses. William went quiet. Then his voice dropped, heavy with a new, dark resolution. Bea asked if they should warn everyone and set up defenses like last time. William went quiet. Then his voice dropped, heavy with a new, dark resolution. You and I know, William won't wait a full day for Jack to attack. A sharp glint flashed in his eyes. He wasn't going to sit around waiting. We strike first. We catch him completely off guard before he can even move. Deep in the hills, William stood alone, his voice cutting through the thick trees. Jack, I know you're lurking out there. Come out and face me right now. On a massive boulder nearby, a figure crouched low before slowly rising up. It was none other than Jack, the man who was supposed to be dead. It was Jack, the man who was supposed to be dead, Ling Jai sneered. He stared down at William. Well, I didn't expect you to walk into death. William didn't flinch. He wasn't intimidated by a walking corpse like Jack. Is that so? But weren't you the one playing dead like a total coward? Jack's face darkened instantly, pure, unbridled rage flashing in his glowing zombie eyes. Shut up, he roared as he lunged forward, his lethal claws gleaming for blood. William's gaze sharpened as he tilted away. Trust me, this fight is just starting. All right, watch closely as his blade suddenly slashes right across Jack's chest. As blood spray paints the air, William notices those deep, lingering burn scars. They cover Jack's body, and in that second, everything finally makes sense. A dark, vicious smirk pulls at William's lips. So I was right, he sneers. Those wounds of yours never fully healed, and that is why you fought dirty. Jack, let us be real, you are nothing but a total, pathetic coward. Jack's face twists with pure fury as he growls back with a hateful glare. Now pay attention here, because a massive explosion suddenly rips through the forest. Jack freezes up instantly, his entire body stiffening as deep terror floods his soul. William just sneers at him. Let me guess, you were going to brag, right? You were waiting for your reinforcements to arrive and save your pathetic life. Too bad, I knew about them. My people intercepted them halfway here, Jack. This time there is no escape. You are dead for sure, you coward. Elsewhere, overlooking the massive explosion, William's father stands atop a giant tree branch. He gazes down at the battlefield, now littered with piles of rotting zombie corpses. Laughing wildly, he roars out, "Did you really think you could win? Now burn. Turn into ashes," he screams, while the mother watches the horizon with calm eyes. On the ground, she stares out into the distance with a cold, expressionless gaze. From the dark tree line, yet another massive wave of zombies comes surging forward. Without any hesitation, she unleashes the full might of her terrifying purification power. You and I both know she is strong, but this holy energy is unreal. The undead ignite in ghostly blue fire, turning to dust in mere seconds of contact. Watching the swarm get wiped out, she feels her surging strength and chuckles softly. Not bad, this power certainly makes cleaning up all this trash way too easy. Hearing her, the father immediately pulls her into a very tight, prideful hug. You are absolutely incredible, honey, he beams, his face glowing with total joy. She just pushes him away with disdain and contacts Bea through her earpiece. After reporting that Point A is clear of zombies, she asks for targets. Thanks to her sensing ability, Bea had already mapped out every nearby monster. Since that cluster was eliminated, she quickly tells them to move northwest 1 kilometer. There are 24 more zombies waiting there. The mother pauses, her tone softening. After getting the new coordinates, the mother pauses, her voice softening slightly. Luna, how is it going on your end? Is everything safe and sound? Bea's voice comes back reassuringly. Do not worry, we are hiding by the cellar. We have guards stationed here too. Then she checks in on Lucas, fighting solo. Brother Lucas, she asks him, are you doing okay out there on your own? Lucas is a pro with his new awakened abilities and answers her very cheerfully. Relax, these weaklings are not even enough to make me break a sweat. Hearing his confidence, William's father lets out a massive, hearty, and loud laugh. Those zombies never saw this coming. Getting ambushed like this serves them right. Lucas chuckles too, adding that none of this would work without Bea's help. Her coordination was the key. Luna, you are officially the team's new commander. Hearing all that praise, Bea blushes and whispers that it was thanks to everyone. I really could not have done this alone, she murmurs softly. Trust me, seeing her blush like that makes this victory feel even better. All right, you and I are about to witness an absolute slaughter of a showdown. Jack is battered, broken, and getting completely dominated by William in this one-sided fight. He can't believe his eyes. Jack stares at William, desperate to understand how he got this strong. How did the gap between them get so massive? Rage builds until his eyes nearly pop out. I will not lose, he screams, but William just gives him the coldest look imaginable. Your flanks are crushed and your main army is suffocating. William is just straight up mocking him. Lee, do you honestly think there's any way you're walking away from this mess? William starts gathering energy again. His voice is steady, like a judge passing a final sentence. It is over, Jack, he declares. Jack just stands there, head down, in total silence. Then he snaps. Gritting his teeth, he snarls back that it is far from being over. Back at the base, Bea's face goes pale. Something bad is coming fast. William, watch out, she screams. 3 Tier 2 zombies are closing in on your position right now. As the warning hits his ears, William spins around to see a nightmare charging his way. 3 massive, mutated rat monsters are sprinting straight at him, and they look like they're out for blood. William's face darkens. He glares at Jack, clearly not impressed by this sudden interruption.